The following is a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is Black Hollywood Live, the Black Tea Party, featuring weekly discussions on political news and current affairs. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host of Black Hollywood Live, the Black Tea Party.
There we go.
And there we go. All right. What's up, y'all? This is Black Hollywood Live, Black Tea Party. I'm your host, Anthony Martin, Blackface activist, social media. Check me out. We got a crew today. We got the Black Tea Party crew in the building. Everybody
in the house.
Everybody in
What's
here.
close in the house?
Stacy on assignment, but let's start with you, Shirley. What's going on?
Hi, this is Shirley Husar, H-U-S-A-R. Thank you guys for coming back and watching us. I know that you're a consistent fan of us, and we love you.
Yes,
we
yes.
love you. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
All right. What's
I love
up?
that. What's happening, man? I'm so happy to be in the house with y'all. I have been MIA for a long
Where
time.
you been, boy?
Just traveling on the East
Oh,
Coast.
y'all,
been around the world.
me and Mike did everything. Me and Mike did everything.
Y'all did everything, and you held it down.
I
too.
held it down.
I mean, Mike even grew an afro for the occasion. I'm so happy for this
Where
guy.
I
Got a little
could, my
Negro in the stream. He's got a little Negro.
He says something too. I'm gonna start picking that afro and see how many
Okay.
naps he really got in it, right?
That's what I'm talking about.
Good to be here.
All right. What's up, Mike? How you
Hey,
doing?
what's up, guys? I'm a little disappointed.
Okay.
The greatest interview for a comedian right now is going on, the Trump Sarah Palin thing.
Don't
so.
tell them that. They won't watch us.
Right,
Oh, I want it. Watch it later
Don't
with
change.
me.
Don't change. Please
I'll
stay.
Periscope it live later tonight.
All
So,
right, y'all. So we got a great show today. Politics is booming as usual with the political race coming in and momentum moving up. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. But before I start today, I just want to say, man, if you're feeling our show, if you love Shirley, anybody, you like us, you like that it's free, you want to see it that way, follow our sponsors, help our sponsors out, and luckily we have a great sponsor, DraftKings.com. Last football season, they made the most millionaires off of any one-week fantasy football team. So go hurry off to DraftKings.com. Use the promo code BLACK and your chance to win $2 million grand prize at DraftKings.com.
Who cannot use $2 million?
Who can't
It's
use
so
$2 million?
fun, too.
I'm about to log on right now.
No.
Oh, Jesus.
as a fantasy football
Facebook,
player,
Twitter,
it's
Instagram.
amazing because I played it the last week because as most fantasy teams, I had 4 last year. I play a lot of fantasy football.
Did you win $1
So I
million?
have, no, I did not win any of them.
How about
But
that?
But
the
you got a
last
chance tonight.
week, my buddy was out of town, and he's like, "Hey, you want to do my DraftKings for me?" And the nice thing about DraftKings is every week you pick a new team. So
Okay.
so you're not stuck like with regular fantasy, which I still do 5 teams, but. With regular fantasy, you're stuck with those players. You have to make trades. Every week, it's like you start fresh again.
Okay, that's what's
So
up.
if you like fantasy football,
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Especially if one of your 5 teams isn't doing playoff bound at all, it is a great way to play.
I feel all right. So
Just
again,
my 2 cents.
all right. So again, just
Try it.
enter the promo code BLACK at DraftKings.com. Again, that is
$2 million.
DraftKings.com. This
$2
isn't
million.
fantasy as usual. This is DraftKings. Welcome to the big time.
$2 million. I'm about to log on now.
Let's go. All right, now let's start this show. So this week there was a lot of rhetoric. That word's been used a lot this week, so I'm gonna use it today. There's been a lot of rhetoric
How's the
about
rhetoric?
political correctness and derogatory words used in the presidential race.
Yeah.
On both sides of the fence, but the most recent, I think, was the use of it by what's that guy's name again? Bush.
Jeb. Good old Jeb.
Jeb used the term anchor babies, and he said it wasn't in term of the Latino population, but the Asian, more referring to the Asian population, bringing them over.
Yeah,
Hillary came out, tried to slam him, say, can we use some other names like children or babies or U.S. citizens? So, I mean, it's a big topic. They're using it, and I think Jeb and Donald Trump made a I'll paraphrase it, but basically they were saying there's too much political correctness going on in the game right now. Like, we need to chill it out. I gotta say what I gotta say, and that's just how it is. And I would say most of the people that are following Trump, they feel that same way. I don't know about
white
Bush.
pride at his rallies.
That is
Well,
true.
Documented.
everybody that follows and supports Trump is not white.
I'm not saying that, but
I know I
at
look
his
like a white
rallies,
woman.
people
I know
are
I look
yelling
white.
that. So I mean, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I know I look white, but I'm not.
Let's just what do we feel about it? Let's first start with political correctness. Now, I myself, I would say I'm not the most politically correct person by any means, and sometimes I just want people to give me it how it is. Just cut to the chase, tell me what's going on. I do think, in a sense, when I'm looking at the next president of the United States, I want them to be careful. I think that shows restraint. I think that shows control in their leadership. And political correctness in your vocabulary and your how you use it kind of spreads to other things that you do, to me. And that's what I'm looking at. What do y'all think about that?
It's politics, so that's what political correctness is
Okay.
for. It's in political correctness, being politically correct. They're politicians. They're supposed to be politically correct. But shouldn't be, and it's one thing when you're using a term and you're explaining it versus dropping it. And you sent the Bill Maher thing earlier,
right?
And that's different for a comedian as well. As a comedian, we gotta put things in. Yeah, sometimes things are too politically correct depending on the circumstance. Sometimes they're not. When you're running for office, you're supposed to be politically correct, because you're not supposed to disenfranchise voters? How about that? Let's start there. For the selfish reason.
And polarize your party,
Yeah.
your party is at the same time. It's interesting to watch this thing unfold because I think it's becoming all entertainment. You know, I think that people are they're campaigning with the soundbite issue. You know, it's I listened to Jeb Bush kind of give his explanation when he used the term, anchor babies.
Right.
And when he went in to give his explanation, I thought, now it would have been more appropriate had you just said that.
Yeah, but I think one of the things, it was funny because there was a guy behind him in one of his speeches that he was giving. I'm not sure where he was at, but he was like, "Can you use something different than anchor babies?" And Bush was like, "Well, give me something. I'll give me something to do it." And he gave it something. He's like, "Oh, that's too long. That's too long. We can't, those are too many words." And
And
it's
then
just
said,
like,
"But give me something."
But give me something. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I just feel that they're speaking just like every other human being, but there has to be some kind of coaching. Like where are their political
Donald Trump has loosed this animal, and I think everyone is trying to follow what I believe he's a trendsetter for. He's speaking his mind. He's speaking right off of the cuff. He's not holding anything back. He's just putting it out there. So I've heard him. I've now heard Jeb.
So why does it work for Trump and it doesn't work for Jeb? Because Jeb got called out quick.
It's
Trump
Trump's
did
brand.
it, been doing it, and no one said anything about it.
But it's Trump's brand. We always expect Trump to be that loose cannon, to say something, because we really don't take him serious. I was watching today that he had a big party over in, I believe, maybe Maryland somewhere, and the guy who threw the party said, "Listen, everybody here is not a Trump fan. People are just here to watch the show. They just want to see him. We want to see him." So I think the real politicians have got to be set aside.
It's not celebrity apprentice. I just wanted to bring up some Trump political correctness going on. He posted on his Twitter one time, Arian Huff is an unattractive inside and out. I fully understand why her former husband left her, and to a man, it was a good decision. Like things like that. He's saying, like, do you feel like presidents using that type of language? Like, do you think a person could be a president?
When he's supposed to be talking to Netanyahu or any of the other leaders of the world? Is he going to go on a Twitter rant?
Exactly, he will. Because he's doing it already.
People when we're already in tense situations.
He's going to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you say to what is he like? He's like 30% in the polls for the Republican Party, right? Like, what do you say to those people?
40.
He's around.
Okay, 40. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, what do you say to those people that are following him and love that? Like, why is it okay? Like, why would they say it's okay, Shirley? Why
you're talking to me? Well, Trump has a strategy. It's not about, you guys are like in some Mars land. This man is on the front line. He is the front media trending candidate right now. The truth will be known when you have your elections per state to determine who the candidates will be. Anchor baby. Anchor baby is normally, people have a different definition. An anchor baby is when a child is brought by their parents little in this country and they grow up as an American citizen, but they're not citizens.
They're born in this
illegal immigrants.
You just said
illegal.
brought in the
They're not
country. You
brought
mean
in.
born in the country.
They have to be born to be in England.
Well, they have some, the ones
were
that are born
born.
here. Well,
Born.
see, there's different definitions. I've heard also some of them were brought here as a baby illegally.
But there's a constitutional right to
you're
be
born
considered a citizen if you're born
And
here.
that's what
Some
they're
of-
arguing, the
well,
14th Amendment.
Right, they're arguing the 14th Amendment. That's correct. So there's different.
Well, okay, so even on that, like, since we're talking about anchor babies, and that's like the hot word right now, is that derogatory? And if so, like, are we creating some type of slippery slope?
labeling babies.
What determines politically correct? That's what I want to know.
Well, let's say, let's
I mean,
move
what
from
determines politically correct?
Well, you make everybody feel like that's here. Make them feel like
Is
they're
it about
excluded.
is it about somebody's feelings or getting the job done?
I think
What job are you getting done?
It is about feelings at some point.
I think it's about getting the job
Personally,
done.
I think it's bad for politicians or presidential hopefuls because they're trying to grab these demographics for votes. And when you use derogatory terms or
I don't think that they look at this as derogatory. I think that you have candidates that just don't do enough of their homework. I'm not justifying Jud Bush. I'm just saying sometimes I feel, at least on the GOP side, that they are not culturally diversified. There's not enough urban staff to correct or help them articulate the right words.
Be sensitive.
Yes.
To be sensitive
to
to
the
those
culture
issues
and the
that we have.
community. Because if they did, they would think twice about what they're saying. And I think that is with most candidates on both sides, is that if you would look at the campaign trail, sometimes they say things you go, you got an all-white staff. I know you do.
right, so
Yeah, it's always the GOP.
So, but yeah, and we have to continue
always,
to
but
call them
mostly,
out
yes.
because if we don't, I feel like this is going to be a slippery slope. You use anchor babies one day, you're going to use something else the next, and something else the next, and then it's just going to start becoming okay, like in the political realm, and then there's going to be a whole backlash from it. I mean,
Well, it's supposed to be. That's kind of the issue, though, that you're bringing up, is that, it is a slippery slope, but at the same time, we already have an established. I'm willing to use this term. I did appreciate that Bush did try and backtrack a little by going, well, then what should I use? Although then he goes back and goes, but like that. I mean, that's really a thing. Like when you meet a transgendered person, what do? You ask, like, if you want to ask, you can ask the question. You'd be like, oh, what pronouns do you prefer? If you want to be polite.
Right.
Like, it's not that big a deal. And, like, if he had just, like, had he just gone, like, okay, fine, then children of illegal immigrants or whatever I think that was the phrase that he used, I believe.
Children of illegal immigrants.
Yeah,
right.
children, U.S. citizen born of illegal
Right, that's
immigrants.
what
It
it
was
is.
something
Wrong,
wrong like
something wrong. That's
that.
correct.
But just use the term. You're trying to win their votes. Why are you trying? Okay, first of all, the Hispanic bloc is one of the biggest growing blocs in
definitely.
the Republican Party,
He gets a
and he's
pass 'cause
polling
he's
at
married to
less
one.
than 5%
Right.
among them.
But he gets a pass because he's married to one.
And he's
of
got
them.
children by one, so.
So then that's why he decided to
And
insult
his
the
children are
Asians.
not the
fluent.
way the Hispanics are looking at it, though.
But his children are fluent Spanish. They speak fluent Spanish.
Right. So he obviously doesn't mean any.
No, I don't think so at all.
He said like
But he
Puerto
meant that towards
Ricans,
the
and they're
Asians.
American citizens. He was saying Puerto Ricans should be going back to their American citizens.
But we
They
have,
serve in our
we,
army.
we have to keep in mind that we have people who are not culturally educated. They don't
But
understand.
why is that guy running for president?
Okay, if you were
Yeah.
to say, well, it doesn't matter. It's any of us. If you were to say to me, on birth certificates, especially for African American people,
Yeah.
some of us they're black, some of them they're Negro, some of them are people of color, and now the new ones they don't have put anything
Black,
on
not
them.
of Hispanic descent.
Right.
I mean,
So
you got
biracial?
biracial. So here you have a situation of constantly evolving how America phrases and has terms and has identifications of what a certain issue or a certain person is.
But shouldn't the leader of the free world have his hands on the balance
Well,
of that?
first,
considering that we are a
I'm
melting
not,
pot.
I'm
know
not
that Puerto
disagreeing.
Rico's
I'm
a
not.
They're all immigrants to some degree, right? If we're very honest about
My
it.
grandparents.
So the
I
person
was an
that's-
immigrant. They brought me on a slave ship. My people
But I'm
were
saying,
shut down
but we all are
slaves.
immigrants, meaning that none of us were here. So that the person who's going to lead this country should be sensitive to that type of dialogue.
I would agree with that.
I believe.
I agree with that.
Okay, we agree.
all right.
You better give me
So I guess just moving on, and we're having to talk about those, and we were talking about a lot of Jeb Bush and Trump. Trump's big in the news right now. You can't hate on him about that.
Trump.
Here
boom.
you go.
Trump. Boom.
But
I'm serious. Vote for him. Aren't you gonna vote for Trump?
no.
Why not?
Okay.
Why not?
I'm voting for
that's
him in the
right. Are you a
primary.
registered voter?
The real
I am
question is,
a registered voter.
What party are you with?
I'm not. I'm not in any
So how
party.
can you have to be with some type of party? How are you
have to be.
registered? What are you registered as? Independent, libertarian, and what are you?
I'm registered as a Republican.
I'm not talking to him.
I'm originally registered as a Democrat.
Okay, so then you're a Democrat.
Yeah, but not really.
But you're a Democrat. Because
No,
you're registered.
I mean, on paper I am.
Okay,
but I
then
don't,
there you
I
are.
don't
Just
look
say
at
it. Why are you ashamed of it?
Well, I'm not a Republican.
I'm
but
not ashamed of it. I just don't agree with all Democrats, so I don't necessarily characterize myself as either Democrat or Republican.
But you are
I
a Democrat on paper.
Yeah,
So
I
therefore,
am.
he's a Democrat.
So you're
Just
going to
say
call
I'm
me
a
a
Democrat.
Republican?
You're registered as a Republican?
Hell yeah, I vote in their primary and try and vote for the least likely guy to be voted for. That's why I'm voting Trump.
So here we go. So we're talking.
See, it's this kind of thinking. Did you hear that?
I heard it.
You can't vote if you're.
this
By the way,
kind of
if you're an independent, this is one of the ways we're
That's
screwed
correct.
in this thing.
That's
you
correct.
can't vote in a primary, so they basically force you into the Democrat or Republican.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
but you vote for the wild card. The wild card is exactly what we don't need to have happen to this country.
He's not going to
Especially-
win. He's
especially
losing by
not this
double
time. He's not the
digits
wild
against
card.
O'Malley.
He's
If there
not
was
the
a
wild
national,
card.
He is.
Trump?
Time will tell. He's not the wild
Well, this is
card.
true. We're still
Okay,
quite
we'll see.
early, but
You
I'm
know?
telling you, if America's telling the tale by these polls,
Time will tell.
Time will tell. I
And
think you guys are in la la land, but just keep going. We'll keep
see.
watching.
Well, like you said, we are talking a lot about them. But one of the things that I don't know if we have too much discussion about is the Democratic Party. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff about Hillary
Absolutely.
with her, her scandal with her emails. There's a lot
There's no
of
scandal.
There's a lot of stand up with Sanders, but I mean, who else do we have?
scandal is such
These
a strong
nuts.
word, Anthony. I'm just going to tell you.
Especially
These
since it was
nuts
debunked
get
that
you
she
some
was
nuts.
cleared from the secretary, the Secretary of the Interior. So besides that, there are only two candidates really kind of running right now.
What about these nuts? You're not taking him serious?
Well, he's a Democrat.
And
He's not-
by the
He's
way,
not- yeah.
and by the
There's
way,
a difference.
and they're saying that Grumpy the cat might run again.
Grumpy?
Grumpy might put his name in the race. He was in the race. We didn't have it right last week, but they're saying that Grumpy may run.
Oh, Grumpy. Well, Linderbutt is running too. Linderbutt McCubbin.
See?
So you guys alluded to this on the last show about how that kind of makes the showing that the nation doesn't really care for any of the people running, the candidates running.
right.
So what
We
do you
agree
feel
on that.
about a possible
Right.
Yeah, we did.
Biden ticket coming in?
Oh, heavens, no, really.
It looks
why
like
not?
his family doesn't want
And
him to.
I think it's difficult. It's hard to say that America doesn't like anybody. I think that America does have its we have our favorites. We have our picks. But generally speaking, we don't come together and all like one.
Okay.
Biden, I happen to think that it's just a ploy. I think bringing Biden up to the front and staging all these meetings and things is just to find out how much of the Democratic Party do we still have.
As
Yeah,
far as like
I
who wants to
totally agree with
run
you.
for
Yeah.
Biden, or I don't get
wanna-
what you're saying.
They want to get a feel. See, we don't know how much impact Trump has had on the Democratic Party.
Okay.
Right?
So you're trying to see who left it?
We're trying to see who left and who's there.
Okay,
So if you
okay.
take Hillary's
Interesting
numbers,
take.
which is taking a little haircut on it, and then you combine what Biden is pulling on polls, although he's not even officially claimed he's running, then you can still see what kind of impact we have in the Democratic Party.
He was vice president under Obama. I mean, Bush Senior did the same thing when
When Reagan.
When Reagan, yeah. I mean, if you're a twice elected president, being the vice president puts you in a role where people either see you favorably or not, but you're in the spotlight. I mean, I just think it's par for the course to
I
check
don't
that
think
out.
anybody's ever going to vote for Biden.
Really?
Unless Biden was the only choice. Not when he's up against Hillary Clinton. But I do believe that Biden, we're talking about him this week. We've talked about him for the last 2 weeks, which means we're talking about Hillary a little less, which takes that spotlight off of this scandal that everybody's talking about, because I think she needs to get past this.
I think she will never get past
Yeah,
this.
and I
She'll get
Yeah,
past
she's
it.
not, and
she-
it's not even a scandal. That's
People are going to talk about it, but
So-
she'll get
so
past it.
What
never
about
get
the
past
other
this.
aspect about it? Like, do you think if they're taking the spotlight off Hillary, which is the front runner for the Democratic Party, is that losing some of her votes if they think that Biden's going to come in? Do you think if they did a poll and they saw that Biden can do fairly well, are they going to throw him in there and
Yeah,
say
I
we
don't
got to
think they
do
will.
it?
Hillary's-
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hillary's the only one. Just a quick stat. Hillary's the only one within the margin of error that Trump could beat on the Democratic side. When you do polls head to head, she's the only one right now that looks like Trump could beat. Meaning she's still ahead by like 4 or 5 points. On
Where?
the polls. Oh, on the USA Today and the Rasmussen poll.
Absolutely.
Hillary's
But that's within the error.
I understand, but I
margin
think
of error.
Hillary's in big trouble. I think she
I
has
think
so
so,
much
too.
scandal behind him. You have Benghazi, you have the emails, you have other things that I think that are in people's pockets. They haven't pulled those cards out yet. And most of all, she's unpredictable. She says things that are just very like, oh God, she's going to just cut her own throat. Seriously.
I think she's very predictable. I think she's a woman.
Well, I think
she's a woman.
I think she's arrogant. I think she's arrogant. I'm sorry, and I think she's hard.
But
I think she's hard.
I think she shows some emotion at times, and people don't like for her to show that emotion.
No, I don't think it's emotion. I think that the way she responds is sometimes arrogant to people. I think it's.
I
think she's a neocon.
Yeah. So
she's a Clinton.
The problem is with that. The Democratic Party recognized that, and I have a different notion on Biden. I still do believe that Biden's going to run. Biden has always wanted to be president. He wanted to be president when Obama was running. He wanted to be president prior to that. He wanted to be president before his second wife. He's always wanted to be president. So here's your best shot.
He was close enough to the fire. He was kept warm by the flame. Biden, that season is over.
Yeah, and I was reading something the other day that
unless
said
they pay him off, I think he's wrong.
When Biden ran for president last time, he didn't poll well at all.
Not at all.
And so they're kind of
reflecting
that onto the now.
You and I and all four of us are talking about Biden. We know his name. We didn't know his name before. We know there's another guy.
We knew his name.
He's one of another guys.
When he ran with Obama.
Okay.
Right.
Prior to that, he also ran for president.
Prior to that, he also ran.
You didn't know who ran then, right?
Exactly.
But you know his name well now.
We don't know his work well now.
Well, we know he was the vice president, and that's about the best work you're going to get when you become vice president.
I definitely think he's going to join the race. I think he's going to run the race, if not to like try to get the nomination, more or less just to pump up the Democratic Party and keep it going.
I agree.
And so,
I agree.
Just help it along because, like we've been talking about, the Republican Party is booming right now as far as media coverage goes.
He's going to steal votes
so
from
they're trying to talk
about, and they're going to win.
But now that Biden joins in, he was a vice president of Barack Obama. I mean, it just creates more media coverage on that one, and then you can talk about Biden and Hillary, and then
as a Bernie Sanders fan, I'm super excited about a Biden run because he takes votes from Hillary, not Sanders.
Okay.
So he actually puts Bernie in a better light to get media coverage to run.
Bernie's getting good media coverage right now anywhere because you only have those two that are on the platform right now. You have Hillary and you have...
But I'm saying poll number wise,
yes,
Biden
I understand.
steals.
I understand. I agree.
What's up with Bernie, man?
I don't know.
His name's Bernie. You gotta love a guy named Bernie.
No, I don't love no socialists. Don't vote for Bernie.
I'm voting.
Don't vote. He's a socialist.
You want to vote for the Republican?
No, I want you to vote for a candidate that supports what America's about.
I definitely don't
Christian
think that's
values.
And I don't think it's Bernie Sanders at all.
What is that? You want me to run?
No,
right.
You got the money?
No.
Okay, there you go.
I had a question. I was thinking this the other day.
Don't vote for Bernie.
Bernie Sanders is, he's got that one demographic of people, and a lot of people love him. So let's say in a world where the Democrats are winning the election, whoever wins, do you think they would pick him up as a vice president?
I don't think so.
No? Why not? He's
put him as Secretary of Treasury. That's where they want him. The same with if he.
I don't think they want him at all.
If he somehow won the presidency,
I
Elizabeth
don't think
Warren's
they want
moving
that man at
position.
all. They don't want that man.
I don't think so.
Kind of drawing 100,000.
I don't think so.
I mean, I don't know. I just feel like
he's a socialist.
I don't care. I want a socialist.
You don't what? You don't care.
You can't. You don't even have a say.
Right. A Republican that's not real.
Get out of my party.
He's like that lettuce. He's that Republican that ain't real.
So who do you think, because, I mean, obviously I feel it's going to be Hillary or it's going to be Joe.
It's going to be Hillary.
So who do you think they would look, I know it's real early, but who would they look at for a vice president as far as that goes? Who do you think is
Cory Booker.
Who is Cory Booker?
He's nuts.
Cory Booker. He's right. He's in New Jersey. He's a politician. He was big when Hurricane Sandy hit. He got famous nationally because when the hurricane hit, he was literally checking tweets from New Jersey residents and showing up with pallets of water and stuff in his person. He rented a truck. Yeah, he was doing it by foot sometimes. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what they need, though, is they need to get what this is showing on both sides is we have way too many old, out of touch people running. No, he's not out of touch.
I think he's the most in touch with the youth. I mean, I feel a lot of
he's more
youth.
No, he's most supported by especially Black Lives Matter organizations. He's really supported by young youth. More than Hillary. I would say more than
marched
Hillary.
with Dr.
Yeah,
King.
definitely.
He spoke up against it.
I'm not a Bernie Sanders fan. I'm just telling you what
And
is
I don't
what is
know
fact.
that I am yet. I like Bernie Sanders on some things. I like, to be
you
honest,
don't.
I mean, I like Bush on some aspects, and I don't know. I like a lot
that
of
should be
everybody. So
every
it's just, it's
person.
kind
There
of
should be
hard to choose, but.
There should be something we like about somebody.
Well,
right?
like
That's
Bush's
right.
stance on immigration with the E-Verify to make it easier so that they can get the jobs we want them for, because it would cost us billions of dollars otherwise. That makes sense. That's a policy already being implemented throughout all of Asia and all of Europe. And we're the only ones. We're going through a paper system with computers from the 80s to do our immigration, which is why it takes years when some of these people are just like, listen, I want a job and I want to go back home. Can I get this job that nobody wants to do? Which is a terrible way to put it.
Let me put a hypothetical on
Yeah.
the table. Let's say, in a hypothetical world.
Hypothetically.
Yeah, hypothetically,
Okay.
if this could happen.
Okay.
If whoever won the presidency, the default guy would be the other party.
That's how it used to be.
Okay, say that again.
If we went
The
back
vice
to that.
president used to be until
The
what
default party.
1840 or something like that. I can't remember the exact date, and my internet's not working.
Right.
But until then, it used to be the person who lost the presidential vote
Right.
was the default. So you actually had bipartisanship in the executive branch, and that ended around the 1840s.
That's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
Because if we went back to that,
Because
knowing
I
that
could
Trump will win,
I could use Trump
Bernie Sanders and
as a
Trump.
vice. I can use Trump as a
I
vice.
use Trump.
I have to say, there's some things that he says that I literally I go with.
okay.
I go with.
What?
There's some things he
Yes.
says that I go with.
No way.
And I
I
don't
gotta
go
hear
with.
Tell me more.
Hold on a second. I don't go with.
Let's
No,
go.
wait, here,
Wait a
listen.
minute. No, I don't go with it because he speaks for me.
Of course he
But
does.
I go with him because I think that sometimes we have to cut down low to get to, the other day I called my mortgage company and I got transferred to a foreign country.
Right.
And I got upset about that.
Okay.
And then later that night, I'm watching television and Donald Trump says, I'm going to make sure that they don't take your jobs. And I'm
How?
thinking,
What's
Yeah,
his plan?
and that's
wait a
my
minute, it's too early. Wait a minute. Hold a second. When we voted for Obama schmoozed us for
Come
about
on
a
now.
year and a half.
Come on
and that
now.
man wasn't saying nothing.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Until right at the last stretch when he brought out his detail, right, of what
Right,
he wanted to
right,
do.
right.
I believe that Trump has got to have that courtesy too. Now,
agree.
I'm not a Trump fan. I'm just saying.
Of course you are.
I think I think that people identify with him because he speaks things that are of interest to them.
Absolutely.
I use it as an example because I had a frustrating conversation with a little man from India on the phone, and I got frustrated that I remember Bush allowed us to export those
Hell
those
yeah,
jobs.
thank
India,
you.
right?
So you're gonna put a Republican in?
No.
Bam. And
I don't believe that Trump is a Republican. You know my theory. Is that
Trump's
Trump
suits are
is
made
here to
in
split this
Mexico,
vote.
by the way. Everyone,
Trump is here to split
Trump's
this vote.
his suits are made outside the country.
So
So,
here-
how am I going to trust him to bring jobs here when he exports every one of his jobs?
His suits are made in Mexico.
and then my aspect about Trump is just that he talks great, like
Not anymore, but-
he's he pushes people, he gets them like pumped up. But the thing is, he never tells how. And I'm not saying
Exactly.
that
It's so
I'm not
early-
saying,
it's so early in the race, and you guys went all
So
whole
hold on. I understand
agenda
it's
from one
it's
candidate.
early in the
Why
race.
aren't you holding other candidates the same
Listen,
standard?
listen.
What do you want
Why
from
are
Bernie
you going
Sanders? I'll
after
give
I'm
this
you
about to
guy?
explain.
agenda.
Can I explain? So the reason why I hold him to a different standard is because he's not a politician. I think he kind of has to show his political,
That makes no sense.
Yeah, because he kind of showed that he
That
can do
makes
the
no
job
sense.
early on. We
You
know
hold
they've
all
done it.
candidates,
They
no
say
matter
like,
if they're
yo,
elected
I've done this,
official or
I've done
not.
that. They kind of have their background, their resume
That
to
makes no
prove it.
sense.
He hasn't done anything.
It makes no sense to say
in the
that you
I don't
He's
think
gone
any candidate would
bankrupt
be
4
wise to do
times.
that, though. I think so early in, they would rip whatever plan
Right,
he put out
you
the
don't never
shreds
throw
for
your
the next
cards all on the
18
table.
months.
Don't your people play poker? What's
But he
wrong
has-
with you?
I
You never
think-
put your
you
best
gotta hold
cards
your
on the
trump
table.
card.
But
I
his
don't
only
know.
cards he's
Hold your
shown
trump
are
cards.
7 and a 2 if
What's
we're
wrong
playing
with you
Texan
people?
Hold'em.
I mean,
Because
I just hold 'em.
his
You gotta
immigration
know when to
plan is
hold 'em, know when to
166
fold 'em.
billion, and every immigration expert goes, this is ridiculous and wouldn't work.
You got to know when to walk away. I'm
What's
sorry.
ridiculous and what wouldn't work?
His $166 billion plan to build the
To
wall and
build
try
the
and
wall.
export
This
everyone.
is the reason why
it
you
doesn't
don't
make
give
sense.
your plan, because little guys like Michael sit on the end
Yeah,
of the
thank you
platform.
very much.
And actually
Thank you
analyze
very
shit.
much.
Yeah, that's what people should
And
do.
get their notion.
I mean,
So it's fair. Just let everybody come in America and take it
Hillary
over.
hasn't given a
I
plan.
just can't get with him going, yeah, that's stupid. I'm going to change it. It's like,
I love
Which
that.
one
But
did he want
why
from
can't
him?
what is wrong?
Bernie Sanders.
What you
He
gonna
tells
do?
you what he wants
Let
to
me
do.
ask you a
Go.
question.
I don't believe it.
Can I ask a question?
go ahead, Shirley. What's
Yep.
up?
Can a man, a real man,
Real man.
ask a question and be real and raw about it? Y'all like too much fluff. You like cotton. I'm not finished. You like cotton candy. You like candy canes.
Okay.
Why can't you just get a man to say, you know what? Bam. And because you don't want to complain about, I don't like how he said that.
I just brought up the aspect of political correctness. I'm not saying that I don't care. I actually said I do like it. I actually said that I do like that he's real.
So it turns you on in some way.
See, you jumped into a whole other thing. But my point about him is that he's not saying anything with that. I don't care that he's blunt. I like that, but I need you to add some more to that. That's what I'm saying.
But I do believe it's too soon for him or anybody.
You don't play poker like
that much detail out on the table this far in advance.
How is not knowing Puerto Rico is a territory not grounds to not be president? How is everyone going, you don't even know that Puerto Ricans are citizens of the United States?
What is Bernie Sanders doing?
Oh, let's see. Which
policy
do you want?
It's funny how you've known Trump's very well. You know why? Because he's told you. Bernie Sanders, you still got to look up.
His immigration is pretty much a lot similar to Jeb Bush's, where, well, one, he wants amnesty like Ronald Reagan did in the 1980s. Remember that? He gave amnesty because it's the easiest way to integrate people into the population and know where they are and stuff.
Jeb Bush not going to win this thing.
Then the second point is to do e-verify. E-verify is what we were talking about earlier, where it's just a super quick process. So instead of taking years for a visa to work, which is one of the only countries that takes that long to do,
right, it's kind of crazy.
It's a couple weeks, just like they do every other country. They're both, and everyone should jump on that policy of why are we making it so hard to come
This is
here?
the problem I have with Bernie Sanders. He comes from nowhere. No, he comes from nowhere.
What do you mean nowhere?
I mean, meaning nowhere that all of a sudden he runs for president. We never heard him as an activist in the community for years.
He marched with Dr. King. He spoke up against segregation. He was the mayor.
Consistently in the media today.
He served every level of government.
Dr. King been dead. You know how long Dr. King
What do you want me to do?
I know, low blow. That was a low blow. But I'm just saying, it's true.
You heard what I heard. He could gain leverage. March with Dr. King.
But you say yes, where he was when during activism. What do you want?
He's with the black man for peace.
I got a black friend, so
I got a white friend.
Let's see how good Trump does for you.
No, we ain't calling it out. No political correctness here.
No, but for real. And I think that's part of the problem with some of the candidates.
I'm just saying. Well, my question is, the point is that he's not new or relevant. What is relevant about him? Not the fact that, if he did or not,
Well, they say he's speaking to the younger generation, which I think is most relevant.
Because he's making the topic Black Lives Matter. So anyone that gives us an ear, we're going to hear.
Talking about college tuition for everybody, which would actually put us in a competitive advantage.
But he's also a socialist, and the Democrat Party doesn't like him.
We're democratic socialists. It's not a socialist. He's
a socialist, and he wants everyone to pay. You guys want everybody else to pay your bills.
No, that's not what it is.
Responsible. Okay, what's a socialist?
What did you say about the Democratic?
It's democratic socialism.
No, Bernie Sanders.
A single-payer system into healthcare, which actually saves citizens hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars. And it saves the system millions of dollars to have a single-payer healthcare system.
I'm not saying the
system. He wants free college for everyone,
but he also
wants
to take 80% of your check. Was it 80% or 60% of your check to cover everyone else's bills? Is that correct?
No, he didn't say either of those.
Okay, what do socialists do? They take more of your check. That means everybody puts into the same pool, and we all live from it.
Yeah, and it offsets costs of everything. No, it's not unfair.
Because it is unfair because you have lazy people who don't want to work.
No, there's people working 3 or 4 jobs who can't even pay for their basic healthcare needs.
Can we get a working definition for the lazy people? Who are they?
Yes. It's anyone
demographically speaking, who are they?
No, we don't know demographically. Everyone's lazy. There's one
there because you sound just like them. Who are these lazy people?
Okay, who are the lazy people? The people that don't want to work and they want government to take care of them forever. When you have 4 and 5 and 6 generation of welfare recipients, okay? Now he's talking about instilling a system that means that you put in 60 to 80% of your check into that pot. Most socialists believe that you put a large percentage, more than an average percentage, into a pot, and then everyone lives off of it. I don't believe in that. I believe in capitalism. If you look at Dr. Dre, if you were to look at any of Ice Cube or any of those people,
they'd still be rich. They'd still be rich under socialism.
They're capitalists.
They'd still be $500 million.
He was a capitalist. He was a capitalist.
He's a capitalist who failed 4 times and his crony friends bailed him out. He's been bankrupt 4 times and exploited
people. I'm talking about American people.
That poor people can't get.
Everyday people who do very well and not going to put their money into a pot for the guy who doesn't want to work as hard.
So I'm just going to add this in because that's a good point, but at the same time, I'm thinking like just knowing a lot of youth, and I have a lot of my frat brothers and a lot of people from college that are still in college talking about this. they don't care about none of that stuff. They really don't. I mean, it's sad.
So what they care about?
They care about the keys, the key phrases that they hear. Oh, we're lowering college tuition. Oh, we're doing this. And I think like if you're pulling that demographic, those teens, those college students that come out, you have to start saying stuff like that because they will come out for you if they really feel it, and they'll make it a big deal.
But
I mean, they
it's one
did
of
that with
the largest
Obama.
demographics of non-voters, though, right? And I think Obama tapped into that.
That's what I'm
back
saying,
then.
and that's what they're saying. If
But that same
you have to
non-demographic,
get that demographic, just like Obama
that
did. I think
non-demographic
that's what
voter-
Sanders doing.
that non-demographic voter today, that's younger, they're more intellectual, they're smarter, they look at their cell phones, they go online, they have their laptops. They're not just going to take sound bites. They want to see results.
But they're also not caught up on
Bernie
titles.
Sanders
They're not
is
caught
not
up on
that
socialist
at all.
or
No, yeah,
Democrat or
exactly.
Republican.
It's not
so
titles.
those
It's not
words
titles.
don't matter
No,
to
no.
them.
They're not caught up. What they do is they'll take those words and then they'll dissect those words
Public
and then they'll
education is
identify if those
socialism.
words
And
are
hold you accountable to
relevant
those words.
and they'll hold you accountable to those
They did
words.
that
To
with-
get rid
they
of
did that with
public
Obama.
education,
Absolutely.
that's socialist
After his
idea.
first election, that first 4-year stretch, when he did not make good from their perspective on all those promises about college tuition
That's true.
and things of this nature, he,
Still didn't make it on Guantanamo.
And it still hasn't helped
did
Black
because
Lives That
he
Matter
needed Bill
either.
Clinton to help him the
So
second
let's
time
move
around.
on real quick. You were talking
white
about
man.
Dr. Dre and Ice Cube. I want to touch into a more little bit. It's a little interesting. It's a good vibe about it. We're talking about hip hop and politics. Now, n.w.a.'s Straight Outta Compton biopic movie is out right now. It's been out for like 2 weeks
2
now,
weeks.
and it's been the #1 movie in the nation.
More than
which
100 million,
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So
Good for them.
it has brought up a lot of discussions that have been talked about before, kind of died out. Now it's talking about it again with the fact of hip hop influencing politics, and if it's doing as much influence as it did in the early 90s, or even if they were back then, and how is it different now? So what are y'all take on the hip hop politics relationship going on?
Well,
Go ahead.
I have the nerdiest analysis.
well,
you guys
I
go
would
first.
say when I started doing blogging and
Okay.
videos, I was on a show called HipHopRepublican.tv. You can still see some of my old videos back in 2009 and 2010. So I kind of have a little heart to this one. I will tell you that when we think of musicians or urban musicians, we can go back to war. What is it good for? People who
Absolutely
are
nothing.
musicians always write what is the passion on their heart,
Right.
okay, and what is relevant. When they go F the police, what you'll learn from the movie is that they were just harassed by the police, and what happens with any artist, they release the energy of what they're feeling into a song, and it comes out that way. So I think when we talk about n.w.a., Negroes with an attitude, but it ain't really Negroes, is that other word? They're amazing because they are capitalists. They took advantage of the talent that they had and that they still have today, and they capitalize off of it. Dr. Dre is the wealthiest hip-hop, West Coast, by the way, just saying, West Coast rapper. He's the wealthiest rapper in the
wealthier
world.
than Russell Simmons?
Oh, yeah.
Russell Simmons isn't a rapper. He's the
No, he's
wealthiest.
a producer.
I was thinking of just
Russell
in hip-hop.
Simmons
Gotta know your
is-
blacks.
I'm sorry, my
Gotta know
bad.
your blacks.
Whoa.
Russell Simmons is?
She said in hip-hop.
They all look alike.
You guys are just picking on
He the light-skinned
white.
one. He the light-skinned one. Let's
light-skinned
get that
one.
one.
So let me.
With kids.
So I guess my thing is like, growing up, I did listen to a lot of n.w.a., a lot of Public Enemy, I still listen to Talib Kweli, things like that. They did have those messages in there, and a lot of their songs, like, had something about it. And nowadays, I would just put it on my Snapchat, like, these rappers and these artists, these hip-hop artists now are just... they garbage, man. It's
Happens
like
to every
I
art,
love
though, bro.
I love the dancing, and you get that in every era. But there's not a good balance, I don't think, anymore. I mean, you have Kendrick, but he honestly, I wouldn't consider him like a conscious rapper.
Mm-hmm.
You have
Fiasco.
Common, Lupe, but again, and that's another problem with
Black
Bam.
Star.
He's not important anymore. Nobody cares about Lupe. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, where is the balance coming in now?
It is interesting. I mean, when you brought this topic up, I was thinking about it because I wasn't a follower of n.w.a. And yet I do remember the controversy around the F the police. And I never heard that voice as being a prophetic voice, if you will, towards a political movement. I heard it as being rebellious.
Okay.
That's the way I heard it. And even now, I can't hear those voices speaking to a political movement or making an adjustment, primarily because there's no political correctness with it, which is what we're talking about with our politicians. That they're saying things and not really being sensitive to the vernacular that they use, or the sensitivity of how it impacts.
They're creating the reality for everybody else. I don't think that they are necessarily part of the movement later on, but like I said in the other show that we did last week, is they're not the conversation piece, they're the action piece. They create the action and the riling up of people, and then from there spurs a conversation to talk about those issues and other things through that, and that's their outlet. And I think they're an essential point in that.
I agree, and I respect the art form. I think there's a place for that, so I'm not even giving commentary on that. I'm responding to how it impacts the political climate. And what I'm saying is that you can create a tizzy, you can create a rally, you can create a big momentum behind it, but if you create a momentum and people don't understand what that momentum is for until 25 years later when you come up with a video, and then it just so happens to be parallel to some of the things we see happening now contemporarily, then we say, there was
good point.
That's a very good point. Yeah. So, but is it impacting the political climate? I don't know that we're doing that.
Interesting.
I agree with that.
Mike, you got the last word. We're gonna have to wrap up.
So first, I got a thing with you about art goes in. This is the nerdy explanation. First, it starts bubblegum pop. We can start with the early hip hop with Run DMC. It was fun, right? Then it moves into a political. Then it moves into dance and just regular popular culture. Garbage. So there's still good stuff out there. I just want to point that out. Good Second, and we don't until 25 years later see the impact some of these things have, and they start. I guarantee you, in 10 years. Call me on this. I guarantee within 10 years there's a movie about the Pussy Riot thing in Russia.
Okay.
These things matter. There's a movie being done right now about Bob Dylan in the 60s and the protests they were doing then. So it just takes time for art to get there. I'm glad that people are finally seeing it as art. N.w.a, Public Enemy, Illmatic by Nas is one of the greatest one of the greatest albums ever.
Man.
Ever.
I will say that time always tells well-produced, true product, good product.
Absolutely.
And what you'll see with N.w.a in the movie is that Ice Cube is brilliant. He's an intellect. And so you guys look that up, think about that.
That's why I'm mad
That's why you have junkie writers today. All they want to do is get paid. These young men built wealth. Not quick money, wealth.
Speak to
Keep
it.
that in mind.
On that note, we are going to conclude this show. Thank you for tuning in to Black Hollywood Live's Black Tea Party. Check us again out next week, Friday, 7 p.m. I'm your host, Anthony Martin, Blackfish activist. Check me out on all social medias.
I'm Shirley Husar, H-U-S-A-R. Come on, you guys, make comments. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And keep going, Snapchat me, H-U-S-A-R. And thank you for watching our show.
All right.
I got to get to Snapchat with you. Catch me on Don's Daily Dose, Twitter and Instagram, and Facebook, Don Nash.
All right, Mike.
At Michael Timont, MIHKELTEEMANT, MichaelTimont.com, Michael J. Timont.
Okay, we got extra stuff on Mike. Thank y'all. See y'all
I don't
later.
get it, man.
Thank you.
You can braid that.
From executives Kevin Undergaro, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio, Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in. The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.